Welcome to Spoken Reviews, home of the Spoken Reviews. Today we'll be reviewing the 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro Retina. Now this MacBook Pro 15-inch Retina does have a 2.2 gigahertz i7 processor, and this is going to be a 5th generation Intel processor that can turbo boost up to 3.4 gigahertz with 6 megabytes of shared L3 cache. It does have 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM built in and a 256 gigabyte SSD flash storage. Now Apple does offer multiple configurations of this model, the 15-inch model and 13-inch model. On the low end, the 13-inch model, it's going to start at $1,300, and on the high end, it's going to go all the way up to $3,000. And I'll go ahead and insert a screenshot of the Apple website so you guys can see the different price ranges. Now, as far as build quality goes, I've been really impressed with this 15-inch MacBook Pro Retina. Let's really quickly go over the ports. So on this side, we have the power port. We have 2 Thunderbolt ports. Then we have a USB 3.0 port, headphone jack. Then on the front, you have the hinge, which is really great. It makes it easy to open and close. And this is one of the design features that Apple does talk about. And on this side, you have the SD card slot, an HDMI port, and another USB 3.0 port. So as far as overall build quality, this is one solid piece of aluminum. So as you can see, it's very solid, very sturdy. And I do think that this will last the test of time. When you get to the keyboard, as you can see, there's very little flex in the keyboard. It's very solid built. It is one piece of aluminum, very sturdy, and it definitely does exhibit the quality and the effort that they've put into the build and the design of this product. Now, the Retina screen that Mac uses on this MacBook Pro is excellent. We're looking at 2880 by 1800 for the resolution and 220 pixels per inch. So very highly dense in pixels per inch. Great for, viewing websites, watching movies, playing games, editing video, pretty much anything you need the computer for. The screen does add, just satisfaction to the usage. Now, I'm normally a PC user, and so this is like one of my first times using Mac, so it's different. I'm liking it so far, but I'm still getting used to it. Now, one thing I will note is that the black bezel around here is pretty glossy, and when I look at the MacBook, it looks great, but I do wonder how much of it is this black glossy thing and more of a trick on your eyes. So numbers wise, yes, 220 is very high as far as pixels per inch, but I also do think that this black glossy bezel does add to the overall perception of the quality of the screen. And I wonder if you were to put the same black shiny bezel on other PCs, would they look better too? Anyways, once again, overall, highly satisfied with the screen. It's excellent. I really enjoy it, and I do think it, it's a huge plus for this MacBook. Now, battery life is something that can be a deal breaker for a laptop PC. Apple does quote this 15-inch MacBook as having a 9-hour battery life, and I can say over my 3 weeks of testing that this is pretty accurate. I was probably getting closer to 8 hours, but I always do have the screen on full brightness. As you can see, you can turn it down, turn it up, and the lower you have it, of course, the less power it's going to use to get longer battery. Now, over my 3 weeks of testing, I did go on vacation for 4 days and left the MacBook at home, and the standby time was excellent. It was unplugged at home. When I got back, it was at 99%. So 4 days not using it, still at 99% on the battery. So excellent standby time. And that's, just me closing it, not shutting it down, just me simply closing it. So overall, highly impressed with the battery. Great job, Mac. And if battery is something that, you really consider an important factor, I do think you'll be highly impressed with this performance on the MacBook Pro. Now, when shopping for a PC, one of the things that I do while looking at them in store is I restart them I'm gonna do that right now. Go ahead and restart. Just because I do think that restarting a computer is a good indication of how fast it is. For me personally, anything under 30 seconds is pretty good. Anything over a minute gets pretty long and annoying. And as you guys can see, on this 15-inch MacBook Pro, I've been getting anywhere from 12 to 15 seconds on the restart. So I do think, to me, any computer that can restart this fast, it does speak highly to the speed of the computer, and I can contribute a lot of this to the SSD. And again, this one does have the 256 SSD. And overall, to me, that kind of adds to real-world performance and day-to-day enjoyment of the computer itself. So personally, over 3 weeks of testing, anywhere from 12 to 15 seconds has been pretty standard for restarts for me with this MacBook Pro. And I really do appreciate it. Okay guys, now we're going to go ahead and jump into the benchmark section of this review. Before we do that, I will go ahead and leave the disclaimer here that benchmarks are important, but I do not overvalue them. And what I mean by that is, I don't think that they always, mean that a computer is better than another computer, or that you should or shouldn't buy one computer over another computer. I use them because I do think that they do offer a great way of comparing similarly spec'd computers to each other. So with that being said, this 15-inch MacBook Pro Retina with 256 gigabyte SSD, an i7 processor, and 16 gigs of RAM did pretty good on the Geekbench 3 score. And to be specific, this is the 32-bit version of the Geekbench score. I was able to get 3102 on the single core and 11691 on the multi-core. Now I've ran this test probably 20 times over 3 weeks, and this is pretty close to the range. I've gotten higher before, maybe 50 points higher, but nothing more than that. So I want to go ahead and put that disclaimer out here. But pretty impressed with this test, and I do think that the real performance of this computer is pretty fast. Now guys, the computer is only as fast as its slowest part. With that being said, whenever I use the Blackmagic benchmark test to see the write and read speed for this 15-inch MacBook Pro, I was highly impressed, and it made sense after using this computer for 3 weeks that the disk write speed was so fast. Now for the write, it ranges anywhere from 1100 to 1200, and for the read speed, it ranges anywhere from 1700 all the way up to 1850, which is really fast, guys. Compared to even the older MacBooks, or even compared to PCs out there, this is extremely fast. And this is directly correlated to the SSD memory in this computer and also the RAM. Okay, so I just finished the Unique Heaven benchmark test, and you guys can hear that fan working really hard to cool off the CPU. And I was quiet for a second so you can hear that, guys. So this is a very intensive test. It runs 26 different screens through the computer, and all the different scenes have different graphics, and they tax the computer differently. Now, as far as performance, I get 30.3 on average frames per second, a score of 763, a minimum frames per second of 12, and a max of 54.3. And to be more specifically, this computer is using a 5th generation i7 processor that does have the integrated graphics card into it. So probably wouldn't use this for gaming, but if I were to do light gaming on this, I do think it could do pretty well. Now I mentioned earlier in this review that I do most of my gaming on my PlayStation 4 and my Xbox One. So I'm not a big PC gamer, but just to be thorough with this review, I'm going to show you guys Steam. Here you can see there are a good number of games that you can play on the Mac, but you won't have the full gaming library as you'll have on the PC. So if you're really into PC gaming and that's a deal breaker for you guys, you probably don't want a Mac to begin with. Or if you still want a Mac and you're a big PC gamer, you're probably going to have to dual boot your Mac and run Windows OS on it. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do that. So you can pretty much split your hard drive and run, Mac OS on half of it and Windows on the other half. And that way you can still take advantage of all the great PC games. But most of the games are made specifically for PC, not for Mac. But you do have some options. I kind of want to show you guys that on the Steam website. Okay guys, so Red Crucible is a game that I did play while I had the Mac and I was testing it. It's a pretty fun game, but like I mentioned earlier, I'm more of a PlayStation 4, even more than my Xbox One. So I'm more of a Call of Duty, Black Ops person. But you can play games on this. So just so if you guys wanted to see, I wanted to include this in the test so people that were interested in playing games can kind of see. Once again, this is Red Crucible, and it's a free game on Steam. Looks pretty good, especially with the Retina screen. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Plays pretty fun, pretty quick. Even though, like I said, we are using the integrated graphics card, so this is not going to be the best of the best graphics card, but it does do pretty good. As you guys can see, pretty nice game, but it's not a gaming laptop by any means. If you want a gaming laptop, I would get a PC gaming laptop. As you guys can hear, it's kicking up the fans because since we're only using an integrated graphics card, it is pretty intensive. But I did want to include this in the review so you guys can kind of see this and see kind of what you're working with whenever you decide to play. Yep, just got shot in the head. I wouldn't buy a $2,000 laptop to surf the web, but if you have a $2,000 laptop, you probably will surf the web on it in addition to other things. So I want to go ahead and include that. As you guys can see, the screen is beautiful, the text is very clear, and it just scrolls really fast. It's a pleasure to use. While surfing the web is really easy to use, and websites load super fast. So here's the Yahoo website, and you can see how that loads, and here's CNN. So you guys can see how you can just seamlessly run through on here. So, I mean, super impressed with the web surfing on the MacBook Pro. So guys, I watch a ton of YouTube, like many of you guys who are out there watching YouTube right now actually do, and I wanted to include this as part of the review. The screen and these beautiful speakers here are really great, so I kind of wanted to show you guys a little clip.
I'm 30 years old, ain't nobody ever sold me drugs.
So you can see like just how loud and vibrant it is. In this video you do have the bars here, which is kind of annoying because you want to see the whole screen, but still really impressed with it as watching YouTube and watching Netflix too. It does really great. The new Force Touch trackpad is excellent. Real quickly, you guys can hear that hopefully on the video. So it sounds like a click, but it's actually not a click. What it is, it's a vibration happening on here that makes it sound like a click, which is really cool. So one cool thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and shut down the computer. And whenever it's shut down, you touch it, you won't hear it, which is really cool. So that's kind of the future. I can see it going both ways. There's less mechanical moving parts, so hopefully things won't break as much. Although I didn't really hear of problems with people with the old touchpad breaking, but less mechanical parts. But I don't know if this is going to open the door for new issues. So, and this is the first time they've used this new Force Touch touchpad. So computer's off, you don't hear anything. But when it's on, it's excellent, and I really enjoy it. It's great to there's multiple gestures that you can use with it, and it really performs great. I just don't know what's going to happen if it breaks. I don't know how much it's going to cost to fix, and I'm not really one to buy the warranties because a $2,000 computer has a $350 warranty, so it's not really economical for me to do that. Some of you might get the warranty, some of you won't, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. Okay guys, so in conclusion, I really enjoy this 15-inch 2015 MacBook Pro Retina. It's an excellent computer. Great build. It's great, nice aluminum. I mean, it's really just sexy. It's like a sports car. The speakers are great. The new touchpad is excellent, great to use. The battery life is, more than adequate. I really enjoy this computer. It is really expensive, guys, and you're gonna have to make the decision, based off of your needs and what you looking for. Now, I do think the specs are great. 16 gigs of RAM. I do think that will last the test of time. The one I got, 256 gigabyte hard drive. It's an SSD, and there's a premium for the SSD. That's probably not going to last you if you, deal with lots of media. But you can always, use an external hard drive or an SD card. But that's kind of the one drawback that I see is 256 gigabyte hard drive for $2,000. That's, that's tough pill to swallow, man. I mean, that's rough, Apple. I mean, $2,000, that's a lot of money. But some people that's enough. Some people it's not. You have to kind of make that decision on your own. The way it's spec'd, I do think that this is, a great computer. If you go for a refurbished model on the Apple website, you can probably save, I think it's like 10% off. So you might save $200, $220, something like that off of it. Now for the next generation, what they're going to do is they're going to definitely upgrade the graphics card. So you're going to get that 6th generation i7 in the next generation. The RAM will probably stay the same. Well, it probably upgrade to DDR4 from DDR3. It'll probably still be 16 gigs. And they probably will increase the speed of the SSD. So look out for that. The new model will probably come out sometime mid-2016. So if you want to, if you're opportunistic, you can probably pick this guy up once the new one comes out. For a pretty good discount. So if the new one's going to be $2,000, you might be able to get this one for $1,600 or so. And if the price is down to $1,600, refurbished, once the new one comes out, then it becomes like a really, interesting proposition. And that's just my opinion, guys. Some of you will agree, some of you won't agree. That's just kind of my opinion. Anyways, overall, great computer. Really impressed with it. I do think this is something that you can have for 5 years, maybe even longer, depending on how you take care of it. In great performance. Anyways, guys, hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully it answered some questions. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to leave them below. If you have any comments, please leave them below, because I love comments, because they just make me a better reviewer. And they really help me, grow as a YouTuber anyway. If you like the video, go ahead and be cool and hit the like button for me, because I really do appreciate the likes, and they definitely are motivating for me to continue the reviews. Anyways, thank you for watching the review. Hope you guys have a great day and enjoy the holidays. Goodbye.